Hello, everyone. Welcome wherever you are tuning in from around the world. My name is Zakota, and I am the associate producer for this show, Experience the Power of Love, Peace, and Harmony. And we've got a very special show in store for you today. So, welcome, everyone, and happy International Women's Day. Today, we will be featuring a holistic conversation with our host, Venier Wong, and our extra special guest, Nancy Cooper, who we are delighted to have with us today. So share in the comments, take a moment to share your love, share your excitement, share your gratitude, and let us know where you're tuning in from around the world, everybody. So it's my great joy and honor to introduce to you our host for today, Venier Wong. Venier has been a teacher and a friend of mine for a long time, and she is also a master teacher and healer at Master Sha Dao Center Global, the co-lead for the Global Health and Wellness Program, as well as a former director of the Love, Peace, Harmony Foundation. Venier has worked in international nonprofit organizations and for governments on social health justice policy, restorative healing programs, and community development. She was a consultant and lead educator in organizational change, strategic leadership, and capacity building. In addition, Venier has passionately worked on vital humanitarian issues such as mental health, poverty, homelessness, violence against women and children, social economic justice, and gender and racial equality here in Canada, as well as in the United States and overseas in Africa, Southeast Asia, Central America, Europe, and the Caribbean. And she's here with us today. Let us give a warm welcome to Venier. Venier, can you hear me? So Venier, if you can hear me, we can't quite see you. Maybe you need to turn your camera on. So everyone, just bear with us for a couple moments. I've got some beautiful comments coming in here. Jeff Ramis from Love, Peace, Harmony from California. Luz Zara Acedo is sharing her love, peace, and harmony. Sandra Barron says love, peace, love, and gratitude from Vancouver, BC. Brianna O'Grady shares Happy International Women's Day from Arizona. Love you, Venier. Cynthia Jackson, hello everyone from Atlanta. And Wilhelm says love, peace, harmony from south of Germany, Black Forest. So let's see. So maybe Venier, you might need to come to go out of the studio and then come back in. We'll just wait for a couple of moments. Hang on, everybody. We'll be right back with you shortly. Tough. All right, everyone, we'll be back with Venier momentarily, and I welcome you to share in the chat in the meanwhile. Why is this day important to you? How has this impacted your life? And what is meaningful about celebrating International Women's Day? We would love to hear your perspective. I see Marie-Claude from Martinique saying hello. And then a friend, Rajeshwari from Mumbai, who says, I received lots of awakening through love, peace, and harmony. Wonderful. All right. And welcome, Venier. Thank you so much, everyone, for your patience. We'll welcome Venier now.
Thank you, Zakota, and happy International Women's Day, everyone around the world. Today is March 8th. The United Nations had declared in 1975 that there will be a global day of recognition focused on women's equality, continuous progress towards greater equality, and transformation. So on this special day here in Toronto, Canada, we wish everyone a happy International Women's Day. And where this day is celebrated worldwide, and in some countries, more than 32, where it's a national holiday, which means you get to spend time reflecting on the significance and achievement of what it means to have a woman in your life or what women have done to contribute to humanity's transformation. So, on that note, I have the great honor and privilege of introducing a very special guest, a dear friend, and an incredible soul and beautiful human being. Her name is Nancy Cooper. Nancy is from the Chippewas Rama First Nation in Southern Ontario, here in Canada. She has served for more than 32 years Indigenous communities at the local level, provincial, national, and international levels. Nancy is currently a consultant for a provincial organization that has to deal with library, and specifically more than 20 libraries that are in First Nation communities here in Southern Ontario. She's also the author and writer of 2 books, one in particular, which will be released next week, called Biindigen, Amik Says Welcome. So Nancy is also an incredible human being, and she is supported by a beautiful partner, Janet Smiley, and the mother and parent of 2 boys. Let us welcome Nancy Cooper, everyone. Welcome, Nancy.
It's good to be here.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. So everyone, I want to welcome to those on live stream on our YouTube channel, Facebook on Dr. Sean Love Peace Harmony. At any time, if you have a question or just want to celebrate, give love and appreciation, we welcome your comments, your chat, and your insight. So Nancy, because you and I go way back, in the early days where International Women's Day continues to have an important meaning, I believe, to both of us, but perhaps we express it differently. This year's International Women's Day theme is embracing equity. And I recall what motivated me when I was young, much younger than now, was the whole notion of gender equality. But the focus was on gender equality, but specifically reproductive rights, and also reproductive rights as being human rights, and of course, transforming and ending violence against women and children and girls' rights. So thinking about that and thinking about perhaps where you were and where you are now, do these issues remain relevant for yourself? And what about for the country and beyond?
Ooh, that's a big one. Okay, so I want to share with people that I met you in the late fall of 1991. You were organizing a commemorative event with regard to the tragic circumstances that happened in Montreal, also known as the Montreal. And I had just moved to Toronto and wanted to be involved somehow. So I went to City Hall and went to the meeting that you'd organized. And it started our wonderful friendship of over 30 years. But it also started me on a journey of coming into my womanness in a way that perhaps I hadn't figured out until then. You know, I've since after that it come out as Two-Spirit, and I've been involved in the Indigenous community ever since moving to Toronto, and mostly working with women. Even today, with the work that I do, most Indigenous librarians on First Nation communities are women. And it's been my honor and my privilege to continue working with women. The strength of women, and culturally, women are held up in Indigenous communities, specifically the Anishinaabe community. We are the life givers. So I've been really, really lucky to learn about gender equality and gender in all of the
You're back. We can see you.
Okay.
So you know what I say, Nancy? The power of your light is so beautiful and strong, it interrupted the frequency of the webcast. So thank you. Please continue. We apologize.
Oh, did I disappear?
Yeah, you were saying
Oh,
women uplift and we are the sacred givers of life. And then it stopped.
oh. That's funny.
So we are the giver of life. We recreated the opening.
Yes. So I've been really, really lucky and fortunate to have been able to work in my community and do ceremony and learn from women in my community. But also really, really fortunate and privileged to have mentors in my life like you.
Oh. You know, everyone, Nancy Cooper is full of humility. She really is. And I love her so much. I've had such great teachings and love and compassion from her parents, her brother, and more. And these are small ways. Sometimes we don't spend enough time, I think, in our early days, talking about all the small ways, but with great love, that we were able to tap into, nurture, and support ourselves as a community of women in all our diversity, as educators, activists, policymakers, healers, keepers of the sacred wisdom, and much more. So I want to thank you, Nancy, because you've always been so generous and taught me so much. And I fumbled along the way, but continue to grow and change. So maybe I can ask this question, Nancy. You know, I was very reflective of what's changed in Toronto. You know, I started being active, you probably know this, when I was about 10 years old. It was my first civil disobedience and protest to protect a little parkette in my neighborhood where a lot of low-income family, immigrants and refugees, first generation. And that meant a lot to me, but it was a discovery of empowerment. No matter how young you are or whatever life tells you you're always able to tap into that divine creation and community support to do so much more. So one of the things that I remember in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and report more than 10 years now, and one of the things was reclaiming names, the sacredness of names. And in our tradition, names is a message, it's information, it carries divine message. And I want to acknowledge that for all these years, I didn't really understand in my heart the word of Aanin, hello, you know, until I really reflected on it and I did some research and I went, of course, I see the light in you, you know, and also the name for Toronto, the misconception for the long time of what the name means. And now I see it not only in your sign off and your signature, but the city of Toronto, as part of their land acknowledgement, is calling Toronto by the Mohawk name. And forgive me for my mispronunciation if I don't say it very well, Takaronto. So can you tell me, why is that important? Why is the name and land acknowledgement really important? I know it's a small step, but I'm really happy that I've seen it in the schools. They open up not with national anthem per se, they do that, you know, and in many communities, not just government. Could you share with us the significance of that, Nancy?
Sure. Takaranto means meeting place. And this was always a meeting place of Indigenous peoples who came. We lived in cycles of gathering and traveling and meeting and being in nation negotiations at different times of the year, be it around times when the fish would spawn or times when the birds would migrate. Different times of the year were very, very important. And this was an area where different nations would come together to meet. So it's called meeting.
Thank you. If someone were wanting to become more involved in learning to support in allyship, some of the really important, you know, issues that are still facing in challenging the full equality and recognition in leadership of Indigenous people, what advice or tips you would give them if they were new to this conversation?
Do you know, I had an elder talk to me one time because I went to university and did community development, and I was going to come and just change the world. I was going to, you know, implement everything I'd learned from books and professors, and the Indigenous community was just going to be amazing because I came to it. And then I met an elder who said, you know, true community development comes as a result of 10,000 cups of tea. And that means building relations, being kin with people, even though you don't share the same DNA. And to me, that means if someone wants to become involved, go out there and make friends. Have 10,000 cups of tea and just find your way that way. It doesn't have to be anything official as a volunteer or you know, a position in an organization or being on a board of directors. Just open yourself to the kindness of others and rely on the kindness that you carry yourself to find your way to be the most effective ally that you can be.
Thank you, Nancy. Very deep and true. I love that. Did you say 10,000 cups of tea?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So, you know, I've had the privilege of knowing your dad and your mom when they were still in human form with us and your brother. And I always deeply respected, inspired by your mother's humility. I was wondering, because we talked a little bit, you know, for all the women in your life and those that inspire you, there are millions of stories that are not necessarily known or told in a broader context. Are there any specific stories, you know, our own stories that you would like to share about your mom or anyone who inspired you when you think about International Women's Day?
Wow. So many things come to mind. Do you know my mom? My mom married my father in 1951, and she left the only community she ever knew, which was the Rama First Nation. At that time, the Indian Act decreed that any Indigenous woman marrying a non-Indigenous man was stripped of her Indian status, so she was no longer a native under the Indian Act of Canada, and had to leave. She lost all her voting rights on community. She was no longer welcome in community. So she married my father and moved to Northern Ontario, where no matter where she went, she ended up working in community, be as a social worker, a translator for the court system, even teaching women how to, residential school survivors, how to make lunches for their children because they'd never learned how. And, you know, let that sink in. So she, no matter where we lived, and we lived quite a few places, role model to me what it meant to be in community and what it meant to be an auntie and a friend and a support person. And even just, before she died, she wasn't very mobile. She was on dialysis 3 times a week. But people still came to her for help and guidance. And she gave it lovingly and kindly, no matter what. And really, right up till the end, if there was anything you wanted to know about the community, you just had to call Madeline. She knew everything. Her net was wide. And, even now, 14 years after she's gone, she still has such a great impact on not only my life, but so many other people's lives who considered her a mom.
Yeah. I want to acknowledge Madeline in a very special way. Like, we started this conversation about women's solidarity, women community, women's strength is not just for us, but it's for all of humanity, right? And at different moments, we can play a spiritual mother, or a nurturing mother, or auntie, or sister, or friend. And I remember there was a period of time where my personal relationship with my mother was very fraught. And one of the things that I was just casually sort of redistributing as I was moving, I asked her mom if she wanted these set of little rabbit ceramics, and she did. And she asked who it was from, and I said it was my mom. And then fast forward many years later, she said, my dear Venier, she said, now that you and your mom seem to be on this healing path, I want to return this to you so that you can honor your mom. So I thank her for that. So these are sacred little spaces, I think it's wonderful when we pause and we reflect. That's what I think about International Women's Day actually this year for me. I personally, I'm not in the front lines like I was in the 80s and 90s and early 2000. The way that I choose to focus and celebrate in the continual call to action, because it is a continuous call to action. We haven't reached equality. We haven't acknowledged women's rights or human rights, and that we are looking at the full realization of all people when we can recognize women and girls, in an equitable way, is those small moments that we add to one another's life. And I want to thank you, Nancy, because we always have that opportunity to do that for one another. It's very privileged, I think, because some of us may not have, because we live in certain countries or in other areas. So on that note, being a parent, you know, um, any words of wisdom? You're parenting 2 incredible human beings who I've learned from you recently are brainiacs. So any words of wisdom about parenting, given who you are, all the wisdom and the things that you've gone through to parent 2 incredible young beings in this world?
Oh boy. They are my biggest teachers. I think we just need to make sure that we don't take anything personally, especially when they're going through their teen years. And you can probably remember that yourself.
Yeah.
With you and why. It's also really important not to pile your crap from the time you were that age onto your kids, along with your reactions to the things that they're doing. I was unfortunately parented through a lot of fear and punitive action by my father. And we decided a long time ago that Janet and I decided a long time ago before the boys were born that we were going to break a lot of those cycles that we were raised with.
Yeah.
And it's not been easy work. Something comes up almost every day where, my immediate gut reaction is something that I'd learned that I have to unlearn. Just love them. Just love them. Just love them. Because they chose us from the star world. It's our honor to have them in our lives. And it's our privilege to have them in our lives. And I try and remind myself when things get frustrating, that they chose me. So it's my sacred duty to be the best parent that I can be.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing them soon in all their upgrown glory. I'm sure they're taller than me now. So I want to invite the audience. Nancy Cooper is our incredible special guest today. If you just joined us, this is International Women's Day, March 8th, 2023, celebrated worldwide to focus on women's achievement culturally, socially, in art, in music, in science, and more. But still also call to action to all the things where we have not fully achieved honoring, respect, and equality. That's why this year's theme is Embrace Equity. It's very intentional. It's not to embrace equality. Equality at a very first level of understanding is what's perceived to be equal. But equity is measured by recognizing the diversity, the situation, and the socioeconomic conditions of women all over the world, which is not the same. For example, as you take an opportunity to ask Nancy a question or share comments, there's two specific themes this year that I thought I would support, and I wanted to name it. So Dakota's going to put it in the chat. One is here. There's a campaign and there's activity taking place in North America, especially in Toronto, called Say Her Name. And the Say Her Name campaign is to support the human rights organization in Iran, right? About some of the violence against women and recent killings of women because they're choosing to express themselves different from the dominant male culture. So Say Her Name campaign, check it out. And here, closer to home, through the North York Women's Center, who has a campaign right now and distributing period purses. So those that don't know what period purses are and our male friends, learn about it. So this is why it's so important. You know, often when I talk to some young people, you know, my son brings wonderful young men. Their reality is shaped by their environment. So even my son is raised by me, a very strong woman, very connected to different issues. We had a conversation around reproductive rights. And I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just saying the ability to choose about your body, your health choices, and more. And the period purse is very simple. In many places across the world, women cannot afford menstrual pads. Girls cannot afford menstrual pads. Girls cannot go to school, work, or be out in the public because the deep shame that has been wrongly taught about women's body and menstruation. And yet menstruation and our body is about life and creation. So I just wanted to put a shout out for those two things. Check it out. The period purse to support young girls and women all over the world that need that support. And then also internationally, Say Her Name in Iran. So please ask questions of Nancy and I'll just read some comments. And Zakota, I think I can see the chat. So maybe you can come on. So Jeffrey Remus from California says, I fully believe that all history teaching are the best when it's reconstructed to be told about the achievements and discoveries and leadership of female persons with equal time and respect. Yes, Jeffrey, absolutely. So Sandra Barron says, I thank you, Nancy. And Jeffrey saying, I really admire the Indigenous people's relationship with nature, the animal world, and championing gender equality is fundamental to respecting every person of every gender, every family, and every community built on the notion of families. So a lot of love from Sherry, from Christine Webster from Scotland. So you have friends from Scotland, Nancy, from India, from Mumbai, from Martinique, from the south of Germany, Cynthia Jackson from Atlanta, Georgia, Brianna from Arizona. Happy International Women's Day from Arizona. We love you and we thank you. And Talik saying hello from Mallorca and from Spain. Okay, so Zakota, any questions for Nancy in the other chats or our live stream? or just big love. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Venier. Thank you, Nancy. All right, so we've got some wonderful comments coming in here. People saying their love from all over the world. Unji wishes happy International Women's Day. And got people from Hawaii. Unji Peck says 10,000 cups of tea. I love this. Thank you for sharing this wisdom. Sherry Freed says, thank you, Nancy. Perfect advice. Sean Murphy says, just love them. I think this is referring to the children. Perfect. And your sharing about breaking the habits that you have learned from your parents is so important. And Sean gives a heart. Unji again says, it takes real work to not pass on ancestral wounds. And at the same time, it's an honor to learn how to stop passing on baggage. Thank you for sharing this, Nancy. And then Unji expresses her excitement with the Say Their Name. Hashtag Say Their Name, the campaign.
Thank you, Zakota. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Unji. Thank you, sharing. Thank you, everyone that is sharing. We can't get to everybody because I know there's YouTube as well. So maybe we leave the powerful last word with Nancy. She has this book coming, going to be released March 15th. And she told me it's a book about a beaver and the family. And I said, beavers. Because Nancy took me to my one of many beaver dams on the land, her family's land. And it was always such a privilege to walk in the bush and see the dams and listen and watch the beavers. So when she told me that this is her book, Biindigen, Amik Says Welcome, please tell us, Nancy, what this book is about and how it can really help all of those who are parenting or those that are teachers or educators that work with young people.
Well, sure. It's not stated specifically in the book, but the beaver is the representation of the teaching of wisdom in the 7 grandfather teachings. The beaver knows exactly what needs to be done in the environment to maintain it to its perfection. I got my actual hard copies in the mail yesterday, so that's really exciting. So Biindigen means welcome. Come on in, make yourself at home. And Amik, the little beaver, has some of her cousins who come to visit, and they're all named Beaver in their languages, and they come from all of the directions. They come bringing gifts for Amik and her family, because that's what we do when we travel to other communities, is we bring gifts, and we share our stories, and we share our names, and we share our land, where we come from. It's always really important to make those introductions when we go to someone else's territory. And they spend the day just learning about how important beavers are to creation by meeting a whole bunch of other animals who benefit as a result of beavers. So they meet Fox. Fox is really happy that she can run across the dam to hunt for her family's food. The fish are really happy because they can swim in the canals that the beavers have dug all year long. This ice doesn't go all the way to the bottom, so they can continue swimming throughout the year. The otters can teach their babies how to hunt in the small ponds when they can catch little frogs and tadpoles and that kind of thing. So all of the beavers spend the day learning about just how important beavers are to creation. So it's about reciprocity. It's about kinship and the importance of kinship. Cousins are really important people in a lot of Indigenous communities. Your cousins are like your brothers and sisters. So yeah, that's what the book is about. I had a certain view in my head and my memory, my mind of what it's like on my property. And one of the beaver dams, and it started off as a story for a magazine, and then they asked me to write a book for it, and it's live and real now, which is amazing. The most important teaching or gift that I want to give people as a result of this book is just how important family is.
Yeah. Thank you. That's so beautiful, Nancy. And, I'm thinking back at the fact that this book exists. It's your second book, and I want to acknowledge that there are other incredible Indigenous writers and authors may not have the chance, before to have their work published. But to look for that in schools, yes, as a parent and in schools and other environment that young people are, it's better now. So I'm so grateful that you took the calling. You've always been gifted as a writer to write that. So there's that cultural important component, right? And also the celebration of life and the values are inherent. I remember when there's an issue of racism in school. My son was 5 years old. My son's African American and Chinese. And I took a week off as a parent to work with the teacher to basically teach my child and other children an issue which they were not addressing in school. So I bought all these resources. It took a while. And one of them that I love was a little girl loving the fruit lychee, which is my son's favorite fruit. It's an Asian fruit from South Asia. And she took lychee to school and explained to the teacher and the children who were making fun of her why this fruit was sacred and important and what it represents. So the teacher and the other children loved it. But I just want to reflect on that because many people who are conscious are looking for tools and resources like this. So I'm so grateful that you've expanded the landscape with such a beautiful story. And really, to me, always a sacred animal, the beaver. I just don't see many in the city anymore. So I thank you for creating that. So just a couple of comments for Nancy. Cynthia Jackson from Atlanta says, thank you, Nancy, for sharing this profound information, wisdom, and love. I love this, and I thank you. And we have many people, Manamora, saying heartfelt wishes for this special day. Thank you for these teachings and being present. Any final words for International Women's Day, Nancy?
Have a wonderful day and just be in your power as women. And those of you who are not women, bask in our glory.
Yeah, that's right. We often say on the show, right? It's about restoring our humanity in one another. And that's how we create the greater love, peace, and harmony. It's just that we're in social constructs that divide us. And in order to uplift all of us, we must recognize we're situated differently in the world. And that's the starting point of those 10,000 cups of tea. So thank you, Nancy. Love you. Be in touch soon. So everyone, let us give our biggest love to Nancy and to say miigwech, and then we'll start a meditation. Bye, Nancy. Thank you.
Bye.
Just joined. It is a global holiday and literally a statutory holiday in many countries. But here in North America, at least we recognize there's a need to call attention to women's equality and also celebrating the achievements, to call to unity, to call to action, and to bring further awareness. So the two campaigns I'm guided to mention is Say Her Name, to support human rights group and women's rights in Iran. And here in Toronto, the period purse. Yes, it's called the period purse to bring attention about women's body, reproductive body, and health and the lack of access. Okay, everyone. So let us make a heart connection. Put one hand over your heart, the other one over your lower abdomen. Make a connection to any teaching, any insight, any awareness. It could simply be a meditation about expanding our greatest love, peace, and harmony to all women across all faith, religions, ethnicity, language, shape and size, identity, and more. And to all people. whatever you need. You can also make a personal request. So connect to the sacred field, the mantra of I love my heart and soul. I love all humanity. Join hearts and souls together. Love, peace, and harmony. Love, peace, and harmony. And just breathe in and meditate. You can close your eyes, or if you wish, have your eyes open, but connect to that message as Dakota puts on the music and the calligraphy, and let us start. Take in the breath of love, peace, and harmony, and gently exhale, radiate this greatest message from your heart and soul to everyone and everything to support women's empowerment, women's service to families, to nations, and the world. Take a moment in your heart and soul to feel, to receive, and express gratitude, love, and appreciation for the special message and the healing frequency of love, peace, and harmony, for the source light and energy, compassion emanating through the love, peace, harmony, calligraphy, sacred field. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And any souls that we've called in to meditate, to chant, to sing with us, we say, love you, love you, love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, everyone. So take a moment and share in the chat, on live stream, on Facebook, what your experience was like with this very short but powerful 12-minute practice, meditation practice. And also any love and gratitude for the topic today or for our special guest, Nancy Cooper. I'm going to turn it over to Zakota, who will share with us some wonderful news stories about the power of the Love, Peace, Harmony donor recognition field. It's a special service that you can receive for yourself or your loved one to bring greater health, happiness, success to whatever it is in your life that needs greater transformation. Zakota?
Thank you so much, Venier. So yes, I am so delighted to share with you all. I'm going to share my screen for the Love, Peace, Harmony Foundation's donor recognition field. Let me just bring up the window here. There it is. So everyone, this is what it looks like. Actually, I'll go back one page. If you go to lovepeaceharmony.org, that's Love, Peace, Harmony, all spelled, .org. It brings you to this page. This is our current homepage. And right here, you'll see a big banner that says Experience the Power of the Love, Peace, Harmony Donor Recognition Field. And we click on it. It brings us to this amazing, beautiful light ball. And this light ball is a representation of a spiritual light ball that Master Sha has created as a recognition for all of the donors for the Love, Peace, Harmony Foundation. Now, why this is special is that Master Sha has transmitted a very high source frequency and vibration to this ball. And anyone who offers a donation, it can be monthly or it can be for a 6-month period, automatically your soul, the moment you are registered and you click donate, your soul is transmitted to this ball and it remains in that Love, Peace, Harmony field 24/7 through the entire duration of your donation. So as you can see here, there are some names on the ball, and these are just some of our current donors who are experiencing the power of this donor recognition field. Now, I'm going to share with you a very special video made by our friend Ela in the UK of her experience in the donor recognition field.
Hello, my name is Ela Kagram and I'm from the United Kingdom. And for the past 9 to 10 months, I have been suffering from a trapped nerve in my lower back region, hips, and the pain went all the way down to my leg. The pain really was so intense that it was stopping my day-to-day activities, like just normal things like sitting on a chair and standing up, or getting out of bed, or getting in the shower, or getting in the car to drive to go and see your mum. I couldn't do any of this. And I was really stopped in every path. And it was so painful, I couldn't even get off of a chair without somebody holding me. You know, the pain was so intense. On most days, the pain was 9 out of 10, if it wasn't 10 out of 10. So I went to osteopaths, I went to chiropractors, I went to a physiotherapist, and the pain was still there. Nothing healed it. So I resorted to taking painkillers 3 times a day. And on the 29th of November, Master Shah invited us all to a gathering to show us the Love, Peace, Harmony donor field. And Master Shah invited our soul into this donor field for 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, the pain completely went. It went from a 9 out of 10 to a 0. I was like in such shock at how this was so powerful. And then I got up from the chair to test it. I sat down and there was still no pain. And even now, a few days later, this is the 3rd of December, there is still no pain. And I am so grateful to you, Master Shah. Thank you so much for creating this Love, Peace, Harmony donor field and for inviting our souls to experience the power and the significance of this. In 2 minutes, you helped heal my trapped nerve pain that has been intense for the past 10 months. I cannot thank you enough. So if you want to know if a pear is sweet, I invite you to go to lovepeaceandharmony.org and experience this field for yourself. Thank you from my heart and soul, Master Shah. Thank you, the Love, Peace, Harmony Movement Foundation. We are so grateful. I cannot thank you enough.
Wow, that was wonderful. So grateful to Ila for sharing her story, sharing, her experience with the donor recognition field. And, like she said, it is true. If you want to know if a pear is sweet, taste it. If you want to know if the field is powerful or not, try it. So we welcome you to check out our donor recognition field page here on lovepeaceharmony.org and join. There are 2 ways that you can join. One is a $100 one-time donation, and at this level, you'll be in the field for 1 month. And you can also join for $300 for 6 months or $50 monthly, recurring for 6 months. And in this level, you will be experiencing the field for 6 months. And of course, you can register for yourself, but also you can register for a family member, a loved one, a pet, for any aspect of life, including your personal health, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual health and well-being, for one organ, condition, part of the body or system, and also for those of your friends, your loved ones, your family, or your pets. So these 2 buttons here will show you how to join the field. The 2 options, the Chase the Pear option is for the 1 month experience, and then the Love, Peace, Harmony World Family is the 6 months experience. So welcome you all to check this out. And we thank you, and we'll now bring Venier back on. Thank you, Venier. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you, Dakota, and wonderful. Yes, everyone, take the opportunity to discover again how you can make a donation to the Love, Peace, Harmony Foundation and get something back tenfold. And that is to serve your transformation request or a loved one. So we thank everyone who participated today, all those posting, sending love, appreciation, respect, and in celebration, of course, International Women's Day, International Women's Month. And we thank our very special guest and my dear friend, Nancy Cooper, for a continuous effort in bringing attention to the vital, important issues of Indigenous culture, history, achievement, all from the place as a two-spirited woman, as an educator, and as a parent to 2 incredible human beings. Okay, everyone, thank you so much. And join us again next week. We have a special guest coming next week. I won't say who it is. You'll have to check out the newsletter, and we send you our biggest love. Take care, be well, be nourished. Bye-bye.